अयोध्यावासी राम 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 दशरथ नंदन पतित पावन जानकी जीवन सीता मोहन राम पतित पावन जानकी जीवन सीता मोहन राम पतित पावन जानकी जीवन सीता मोहन राम अयोध्यावासी राम 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 दशरथ नंदन अयोध्यावासी राम 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 दशरथ नंदन अयोध्यावासी अयोध्यावासी राम 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 दशरथ नंदन अयोध्यावासी राम 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 दशरथ नंदन अयोध्यावासी राम 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 दशरथ नंदन पतित पावन जानकी जीवन सीता मोहन पतित पावन जानकी जीवन सीता मोहन पतित पावन जानकी जीवन सीता मोहन
Hare Krishna, a very good evening to all the devotees and participants who have assembled this evening with us to attend this Prerna festival that is conducted on every Sunday from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Hare Krishna. So it gives me immense pleasure to tell to all of you that this is the 24th Prerna program conducted by ICC IYF South Bangalore, and it is the 9th Prerna program during this Corona lockdown series. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the participants and the IYF South Bangalore team. Because of your efforts, we have reached such a stage that this is the 9th program during the Corona lockdown series non-stop. Hare Krishna. So before we go to today's topic, I have a few announcements to make. The first announcement is um, we are starting the third course of Bhagavad Gita, the third batch for the Bhagavad Gita course. So devotees, this is for those of you who are new to this Prerna program, I would like to tell you that we have also a weekday Bhagavad Gita course. During the weekdays, there will be a Bhagavad Gita session of around half an hour to 45 minutes. And you can join these sessions by clicking a WhatsApp link, group link that we will be sending towards the end of this program. So please stay tuned for the link. Also, I would like to tell, as usual, the devotees that if you have any questions during the course of the program, then you can send your questions to me through the chat box of Zoom, and I will be presenting them to the speaker at the end of the session so that you can get your questions answered. Hare Krishna. Without a further ado, let us move on to the topic of today's Prerna festival. And as you have already seen in the poster, it is lessons from the trip of Hanuman to Lanka. Now, as we know, Hanuman is almost like the superhero of our Vedic culture. Apart from being the ideal servant, he is also an ideal student and an ideal minister. So it makes me very eager to know what kind of pearl-like qualities will we get from the ocean of qualities Hanuman today. So today I would request His Grace Suvarna Gaur Hari Prabhu to enlighten us about the lessons that we can learn from the trip of Hanuman to Lanka. For those who are new to this program, I would like to introduce Prabhuji. Prabhuji is the director of ISKCON Youth Forum South Bangalore, and Prabhuji is also the active preacher of Bhagavad Gita in ICC Jagannath Mandir. He is also the spiritual mentor in this temple. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, over to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Kanak Prabhu, for coordinating this program so nicely. So we have been having this programs consistently since last couple of weeks, and it has been a very overwhelming response from all the participants who have been coming regularly for this program since many weeks, and many of you are also coming for weekly Bhagavad Gita programs. So actually lockdown in one sense became a blessing because of this online facilities where we can come together and share spiritual wisdom, by which we can try to go more deeper into our own life and also try to understand things which we hardly could get time to understand and contemplate on. Generally, the person's life is very busy with material life or with work or with studies, and we hardly get time to contemplate on spiritual things like Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Bhagavad Gita. And this lockdown is giving a wonderful chance for many of you to come together and participate in these Gita programs. And also, it is giving you a chance to me also to share this wisdom of Bhagavad Gita with all of you. So I thank all of you for coming today evening for this Prerna program and giving us a chance to share this wisdom from the life of Hanuman. So I'll begin by offering prayers to my spiritual masters, and then I'll begin the session. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Tarini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Heartily once again welcome all the participants on Zoom as well as on Facebook, and some of you must also be hearing on Instagram. So I welcome all of you and thank all of you for joining today. We have over around close to 30 people joining on Zoom and right now, and some others also on Facebook and Instagram. So thank you so much for spending your time, valuable time with us today evening. So if you are ready, then kindly type Jai Hanuman in the chat box, so indicating that we can begin our session. Because today's session is about Hanuman, please type Jai Hanuman. So, get the response, then we'll begin. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you everybody for coming to the evening. So today's topic is success tips from Hanuman's Lanka trip. I'm sure many of you are devotees of Lord Hanuman. Even I am also a fan of Lord Hanuman, right? So he is a great inspiration for everybody in all parts of India, and everybody sees Hanuman as an ideal devotee and wants to imitate or follow his ideal for being a wonderful devotee of Lord Ram, right? So I hope all of you agree to my point that all of us are fans of Bajrangbali, Hanumanji, right? Vajrangadaji. His another name is Vajrangadaji or Hanuman, and also he has got many names as such. So now, why are we choosing this topic, success tips from Hanuman's Lanka trip? Because this is part of Sundarakanda of Ramayana. Ramayana has got many kandas, 6 kandas, which are primary, and last one is called Uttarakanda. So these 6 kandas, they describe the entire Ramayana, and especially Hanuman's jump from India to Lanka, that is called as Sundarakanda, Hanuman's jump. And here it is so wonderful. It's called Sundarakanda because it's very beautiful because it contains the heroic activities of Hanuman as well as description of Lord Ram's beauty. So that's why it's called as Sundarakanda. And hearing this section will give us a great inspiration. There are many lessons. So I'll begin this section. So how I'll be taking this session is I have divided into 9 lessons. There are many lessons, but I specifically choose these 9 lessons so that we can contemplate and understand these 9 lessons properly. First, let's offer namaskars to Hanuman. Yatra yatra raghunatha kirtanam tatra tatra kritamastakāñjalim vāshpavari paripurna lochanam Marutim Namata Rakshasantakam. Offering obeisances to Hanuman, who is always chanting the names of Lord Ram. Generally, he chants the name of Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. He is always chanting the names of Lord Ram. So wherever Lord Ram's kirtan is there, Hanuman comes and then hears the glories of Lord Ram. And how he hears? The tears in his eyes. Right? His eyes is filled with tears of love by hearing those pastimes of Lord Ram. And he is Rakshasantakam. He is the killer of all the demons. Right? So these are 9 lessons which we'll be discussing today. The first 4 lessons we'll be discussing in detail, and the last 5 we'll be just seeing in brief, because this Sundarkanda is very extensive and we'll not be able to describe the whole thing in just 1 hour, but we'll try our best. So first lesson, first I'm calling it as tips, as avoiding lethargy, serve to your best capacity. Third one, encouragement can bring out the best in a person. Fourth, face obstacles, facing obstacles while flying, means while doing your duty. Mainly 3 obstacles: comfort, pride, and envy. Fifth one, thoughtful in Lanka. Sixth, finding Sita with a strong resolve. Seventh one, exceeding expectations. Eighth, rejoice the victory. Ninth, Hanuman, the best servant. So these are the 9 lessons. Let's go to the first one. The first lesson is avoiding lethargy. So for this, I will start from the section where in Kishkinda is none other than Hampi, the place where Lord Ram was staying for 4 months during exile. During the rainy season, monsoon season, he was staying in Kishkinda and he was waiting for the rain to end so that they can begin the search for Sita. So at that time, Sugriva, after the rainy season is over, he calls all the monkeys and he divides into 4 teams for searching Sita, because Sita had been kidnapped by the wicked Ravana and he had kept her in Lanka. So Lord Ram wanted to find out where is Sita. So that's why Sugriva divided the army into 4 portions. He sent one to the north, one to the east, one to the west, and one to the south. So in this way, he sent everybody to different directions. And then he especially sent Hanuman to the southern direction, because he had more hopes that Hanuman will be able to find Sita. Because Hanuman was one of the best persons in the army of Sugriva. And Hanuman was especially sent with other great people also, like Angada, who was the son of Vali. And also there was Jambavan, who was one of the eldermost and wisest personality in the army of Sugriva. And of course, Mainada and Vivida, they were also powerful warriors. So they were also sent. So when they were going to Lanka, to the southern direction, they came across different forests and all. And they could not find, they searched for Sita everywhere in those forests, but they could not find Sita. And finally, they came to one place which was dry land. None of the trees in that land had any leaves. There was no fruits. There was no water available in those in that place. And they were wondering what to do. And they were very thirsty and very hungry. So at that time, they came across a cave. And from that cave, a cooling breeze was coming. So that cooling breeze was very enchanting to them. And they thought that no, there is some water inside. So they entered the cave and they went inside. Actually, it's a very long tunnel, very dark tunnel. And they were very scary also. But slowly, they went inside. And when they went inside, after a long journey, they reached the end of the cave. And they were amazed that inside the cave, there was nice gardens, beautiful trees, shining golden trees were there, gardens were there, fruits and flowers were there, beautiful fragrance was coming inside that cave. And in one portion of the cave, they saw one ascetic lady doing tapasya. She was a great tapaswini. She was doing tapasya, and her name was Swayam Prabha. So this Swayam Prabha was actually a friend of an Apsara called Hema, and this cave was built by Maya Danava. A very, very nicely built cave. So she was very receptive, welcoming, and she gave them water and nice fruits and water to drink and eat. And then she asked, "Who are you? Where are you coming from?" And they all explained what the reason why they have come to that place, and that they're coming in search of Sita. And then they happened to come across this cave, and they were thirsty and hungry, so they entered like this. So then Swayambara said, "See, anybody who comes into this cave cannot escape. There's only one way. You cannot come. You cannot go out. There's not two way." So then they said, "But actually, we have got a mission. We have to go and find out Sita. Can you please help us? Already 1 month time is over. Sugriva had given us 1 month time, and he had told us to return back. And actually, all the three parties from east, west, and north had returned back without any success. So Swayambara was thinking, how can I help them?" So then she thought that by my mystic power, I will transfer these monkeys outside, and then I will put them outside. So then she told that, "Angada, you can continue your journey from there. By my mystic power, I'll do that." Then she told everybody, "Close your eyes." They all closed their eyes. Everybody closed their eyes. And after some time, they opened their eyes and they were outside the cave. And when they came outside the cave, again, everything was, they were in a different place. Everything was green. There were nice fruits and flowers and everything there. So at that time, they were again started discussing among themselves what to do now. Should we go back to Sugriva or should we continue the search? And different people had different opinions. So one of the persons in that monkey army, he said, better to go inside the cave and stay back, because inside the cave there is such nice food and water to drink. We can be very luxuriously situated there. But if you go back, Sugriva will kill us, because he had told us that if you don't come back within a certain time, he will kill us. So then Angada said, "Oh, why should we go back? Better starve and die." So there are two kinds of response they got. A depressed response from Angada, "Let's fast unto death," and Tara's selfish proposal, "Let's live and enjoy in this cave without fear." So one was lethargy, another was depression, because of hopelessness. They were not able to find success. Why this depression came? Because they endeavored a lot but still could not get success. And why this selfish proposal came? Because there was some comfort or lethargy which had set in. So at that time, Hanuman, who is very intelligent, he puts a nice argument. He starts glorifying Angada. He says, "Angada, you have such wonderful attributes. You have good intelligence. You have inclination to hear. You have capacity to hear. You have the ability to comprehend what you have heard. You have good memory, capacity to reason in favor of the proposition, against the proposition, deep insight into the meaning of what is being spoken, and true wisdom." He glorifies. And Angada becomes very nice. He feels very nice. Hey, somebody is encouraging me. Because when you feel depressed, we actually need some encouragement. So at that time, he encourages. And Angada feels very nice. At the same time, Hanuman also uses 4 things: Sama, Dana, Danda, Vera. So these are the 4 techniques which are applied to bring a person and rectify him. So he uses this technique of glorification, persuasion in the beginning, glorification. And then he says that, no, if you find Sita and go back, then you'll get good gifts from Lord Ram. But if you do not go back, if you do not do your duty, Lakshmana will become angry and he'll come and he will kill you. So then he scared him. So when Angada was scared, he said, "Hey, yes, what you are telling is right. I think we should go back and we should start our search for Sita." Right? So Hanuman threatened that if you don't find Sita, then you will be killed by Lakshmana. So then Angada became awakened. See, threat is needed to wake up a mind soaked in sense gratification or laziness. Okay. So when the mind becomes lazy, at the time some kind of tadan or some kind of chastisement helps to bring us back to the right situation, isn't it? Just like, for example, when in the childhood, when we become lazy, and mother or father sometimes will beat us or they will threaten us. Why? Because that threat is little good, because that brings us back to the track. So after hearing this, Angada became very confident, and then he continued his journey forward. Right? So sometimes the leader like Angada may get swayed away by depression or sense gratification. So at that time, a good well-wisher like Hanuman is required to bring a person back on track to do his duty. Right? So similarly, in our life also, we may sometimes find that we go into depression or we go into lethargy. At that time, we should find some people who can help us, who can bring us back to the right track. So if we have a friend like Hanuman, then it will be very easy to come back on the track. So I was talking to some of the people during this lockdown, and many are telling, प्रभु जी अभी ऑफिस जाने का मन नहीं करता है, क्यों आदत लग गया है. one of the person is telling, since 3 months, 2-3 months we are sitting in home, we are not feeling like going to office because some kind of lethargy is setting. So because the habit of sitting on the chair and within the four walls of the home, so some people are feeling lethargic. They don't want to work. Like this lethargy also sets on Monday morning. Right? When the lockdown is not there, everybody is going to office. So when the Monday morning comes, people are feeling so tired. Oh, again I have to go to office. Or children think, oh, I have to go to school. That was so nice this weekend. We enjoyed a lot. We played a lot. So why not continue this even on Monday? So people are very lethargic, slowly going to home, going to office. But on the other hand, when Friday evening comes, everybody is jumping. Oh, tomorrow is holiday. Tomorrow is holiday. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll do this shopping. We'll go to this mall or something like that. They keep planning, isn't it? So that kind of attitude generally sets in. So that's called as Monday morning blues. That's what the term they use. So Monday morning laziness. Right? So one should not become accustomed to becoming lethargic. So at that time, we should find some enthusiastic people who will push us away from that lethargy. So even in spiritual life also one may become lethargic. Suppose somebody doesn't chant for 2 or 3 days, doesn't do meditation for 2-3 days. Then he says, oh, okay, one more day is okay, one more day is okay. So it keeps on postponing and he will lose the habit of chanting. Or similarly, habit of getting up early in the morning. Sometimes you try to make a habit of getting up early in the morning. You do it for a few days. And if you skip for one day, you will see that lethargy again sets in. Oh, I will do it tomorrow. I will do it tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll get up early. So like that he keeps on postponing on and on and on. So this lethargy may set in spiritual life as well as in material life also. So that's why one should have some good friends who can help us. And those friends should be more enthusiastic than us. Like Srila Prabhupada, when he went to America, he went alone. And he was 70 years old. There is all reason which he could give to in order to say that no, I'm old now, I can retire. Why should I work hard? But Srila Prabhupada, when he went to America, although he was so old, he was 70 years old, still he was so enthusiastic that he himself was doing all the activities. He was cooking, he was serving, he was washing, he was giving lectures, he was doing so many activities. So that is leader. A leader sets an example. He does everything by his own example and he helps others to do it. Similarly, here Hanuman played the role of that leader by which he could get everybody on track. Right? So the first lesson is rise above laziness or lethargy. Okay, and rise above selfishness, blaming authority, and depression. Right? So blaming authority, here Sugriva was the authority of Angada. And Angada started blaming Sugriva. Sugriva is a bad guy. Purposefully, he neglected his promise to Lord Ram. He took action only after being threatened by Lakshmana. And now he's enjoying with his brother's wife. like this. Angada made a statement. Then Hanuman corrected him. Hey, you should not speak like that. He made a mistake, but he has corrected himself now. And he is agreeing to work with Lord Ram, and he is following the instructions of Lord Ram. So now you should not blame him. Right? In the depression, under depression, you're blaming him. Don't do that. Follow the authority. Right? Sugriva is authority. He's our king now. Let's follow him. So like this, Hanuman again and again brought people back on track. Now let's go ahead. After they go little, at that time when they were discussing like this, one vulture was sitting inside a cave, and the vulture came out. So you can see this photograph, this vulture, but he has no wings. He cannot fly. So his name was Sampati. So Sampati looks at these monkeys who are very depressed, and some of them are hungry. So Sampati says, "Hey, very nice food I have got. Let me eat them." So then monkeys get scared. Hey, what is this vulture doing? He will eat us? Already we are so depressed, and Sita has been kidnapped, and Jatayu has been killed. So then this fellow is wanted to kill us. So as soon as Sampati heard the word of Jatayu, name of Jatayu, his eyes became alert. Jatayu, hey, Jatayu is my brother. What happened to him? Can you please tell? And the monkeys told that no, Jatayu was fighting with Ravana, and then Ravana killed Jatayu. And hearing this news, Sampati was heartbroken. He tells, "Can you please take me to the ocean so that I can give some water to my departed brother?" So they picked him up, took him to the ocean, and he offered water to his departed brother. And then monkeys requested him, "See, if you can help us, can you help us? Can you help us find Sita?" And Sampati said, "Yes, I can help you find Sita, but I cannot fly. Once upon a time I had wings and I could fly up to the sun. Once me and my brother had a competition and we flew up to Surya. And the heat of the Surya, sun god, was so much that I tried to cover my brother and my wings got burnt and I fell down. And I fell down and I could not fly. And at that time I was so depressed. One Rishi came and he told me that after 8,000 years, after a long time, when you will tell the truth of Sita to the monkeys, your wings will come back. So now I know where Sita is because I have the eyesight. I can see more than 100 yojanas. One yojana is 8 miles, 100 yojanas is 800 miles. So this 800 miles long, I can see. So then he said, long down in the south direction, there is one kingdom called Lanka. And in Lanka, there is Sita. I can see from here. So if you can cross this ocean, then you'll be able to find Sita. So he tells like this, and after telling this truth, immediately his wings come up, and flies in the air. He becomes free. So two things we can learn from this, from Sampati. When you can't serve Lord physically, do so with the power of speech, and try to serve to the best level possible. Right? Have faith that you can serve the Lord to the best level. Everybody is empowered with different skills and facilities. Some of us are empowered with good intelligence, so we can make nice plans. Some of us are empowered with nice speech, so we can speak nicely. Some of us are empowered with the ability to sing. Some of us are empowered with the ability to create some softwares. Different people are empowered differently at different times. So at that time, we can use the best of our capacity to serve the Lord without lamenting. Right? Everybody can serve the Lord. So once I heard a story from one of my seniors. He told that there was one boy who wanted to fight karate. So he went to many teachers. Many of them rejected him as unqualified because he had only one hand. He didn't have two hands. He just had one hand. So everybody is rejecting him. So he went to one particular teacher, and that teacher said, "Oh, I will teach you. You can become an expert karate player." So he taught this boy one step. That's all. So he told, "You practice this one step, 1 year, again and again. You practice this." So for 1 year, he was practicing this only one step. So then at that time, he was asking, why only one step? You can teach me many steps. No, no, you master this one step, you can be victorious. So then he was practicing again and again. So he was sent to the state level competition. He won. Then he went to the national level competition. He won. And he went to international level competition. And he won. And this boy was getting surprised. How am I winning? So he went to his teacher and asked, what is the secret of this step? He said, the secret of this step is when you perform this step, the only way for the opponent to defend is he has to hold your other hand and you don't have the other hand. So that's the advantage. So that's why you're able to defeat everybody, right? Sometimes a person may feel depressed thinking that I'm unqualified. Like Sampati here was thinking, I don't have wings. How can I fly? So that's what he was thinking. But actually, he was having another capacity, which is his eyesight. He could see a long distance, very, very long distance. So that is the power of positive attitude. Like last session you saw, and if some negative is there with us, don't focus on that. Focus on the positive. Focus on your strengths rather than weaknesses. So that is a secret. So here, Sampati also focused on his strengths, not on his weakness. In this way, he so second lesson we learned was serve to the best of your capacity, just like Sampati. So then there was another tussle that was now 100 yojanas, 800 miles. It's a very, very long distance. How can we cross? Who will jump? So this was a dilemma which everybody had. So Angada, he had confidence. He said, let's not lament. Let's find out who can jump how much. Somebody said, I can jump 10 yojanas. Another person can said, I can jump 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Like this, they were telling one by one. Right? So Jamban said, I can jump over 70 or 80. But at one point of time, when Vamanadev assumed the Trivikrama Rupa, I encircled him. That much power I had got. And when Danavas and Devatas, they were doing Samudra Manthan Leela, at the time I collected all the herbs from all over the world and put it in the ocean, milk ocean for churning. At one point of time, that much power I had. But now I have become old and weak. I do not have that much power now. So then Angada said, I can surely jump 100 yojanas. I can reach Lanka. But I'm not sure whether I'll have the power to return back. So like this, everybody is wondering. So at that time, Jambavan, he was very intelligent and wise. So he knows who is the person who can jump. So he came to Hanuman and said, Hanuman, you can jump. Yeah. So Hanuman said, yes. See, Jambavan is speaking to Hanuman. Hanuman, you can jump. You are extremely powerful. I know your powers. You are the son of Vayu. Vayu can flow at very high speed. You can also jump at very high speed. I know that when you are a small child, when you are just 1 day old, at that time, you jump to the sun, thinking that sun is a very nice, delicious fruit to eat. You jump so high. And then you also learnt instructions from sun god, because sun god became your teacher. And so Surya was flying like this, and you were also flying with him in the opposite direction and taking lessons from him. I know your power. But once, because you played some pranks with some rishis, the rishis have cursed you that you'll forget. And at the right time, when somebody reminds you, you'll again remember your strength. So that's what was told. So then when Jambavan told like this, Hanuman regained his confidence. Hanuman said, Yes, I can do it. I will do it. Right. So here Jambavan is delegating the service to Hanuman because he knows who is the person who can do this service properly. This Jambavan is not thinking, see, I am the eldermost person, I will do everything. No. When the right time comes, one should hand over the responsibility to others. Just like father can hand over the responsibility to the son. Right? Similarly, kings in the past, they will hand over the responsibility to their descendants. So the lesson is that if we only want to do everything, then we cannot achieve more. If we identify people with different capabilities and then give them the task, then they can do more. Like suppose you are in a position of leadership. If you are in a leadership position, if you want to progress and you want to grow the business or you want to grow the company, then what you have to do is you have to help your people or your subordinates grow more. Only when they grow more, then you'll be able to achieve wonderful success. So identify the talents and empower them. Like just like any cricket match, different people have different skills. Somebody is told to bat because he's a good batsman. Somebody is told to do wicket keeping, or somebody is told to do bowling. And different people are given different tasks. Similarly, in your office also, you can identify people with different capabilities and delegate the task to them by giving responsibility to them. So delegation becomes ineffective if it is not handed over. If one keeps micromanaging, then it will not work. Give them the responsibility, they will make mistakes, but they will learn. And by learning, they will grow. So in that way, everybody in the organization also grows. So that's the technique with Jambavan used here. And then Jambavan tells Hanuman, please jump. So at that time, Hanuman, he grows. He grows high, 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 and big, 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 so tall, his head is touching the skies. So tall he grows. And you'll see here the size of Hanuman, he's growing, growing, growing. And all the monkeys behind you will see, they're cheering, Jai Hanuman, Jai Hanuman. They're jumping in ecstasy, right? So because he has been given this chance to do wonderful service. Glorification empowers, strengthens, and encourages. But fault finding disempowers, weakens determination, and discourages. Right? So this is the effect. Right? Now you can just type on the chat how many of you felt encouraged if somebody glorified you. Please type yes in the chat box. How many of you felt encouraged when somebody glorified you or appreciated you or came and patted on the back? Yes. Yeah, thank you. Most of you are telling yes. This is very inspiring. And how many of you felt demotivated? How many of you felt demotivated when somebody criticized you or publicly exposed the mistakes? Right? Please type demotivated in the chat box. If you felt demotivated when somebody, somebody is telling that when I was criticized, I felt doubtful. Yes, correct. So these are the emotions. Similarly, see, when somebody inspires us, we feel encouraged. Now, when somebody criticizes, we feel demotivated, isn't it? So how will others feel if we criticize them or glorify them? Right? Atmat manyate jagat. Right? When whatever you feel, others will also feel. So if you want to bring out the good in others, then we have to encourage others and inspire others, not criticize others. So that is the secret. If you want to build a team, then inspire everybody in the team. Don't talk ill about anybody in the team. Just try to encourage the good things in public. Glorify in public. And if there are any corrections to be given, then that should be given in private, not in public. Right? So imagine if you are sitting and there are 4 or 5 people sitting and your boss comes and blasts at you. I told you to do the work, but why did you do? Right? Now see, so much problem is happening because of you. You are the cause. If you openly blast in front of everybody, we feel so much demotivated, isn't it? So if we also do like this to others, they will also get demotivated. And what will happen? You will spoil the relationship with him, isn't it? So there is an art of giving corrections. Corrections should be given privately. It should be given by the right person, and it should be given at the right time. So these are the three criteria, right? It should be given privately by the right person at the right time. If any of these three things are missing, then correction is not going to work. You're just going to spoil the relationship with that person, right? But if you want to glorify, you can glorify publicly at any time, right? And anybody can glorify. There's no restriction, because that's only going to give you good. See, whatever you do to others, that will come back to you. If you glorify others, you will get glorification. You will get encouragement. If you become good friend of others, you will also get good friends. And if you criticize the others, you will get criticizers only. So that is the secret. So we should try to learn this secret and try to encourage, just like Jambavan was encouraging here, everybody. And Hanuman was also practical. He said, I will jump surely. Why only Lanka? I can encircle Meru mountain 1,000 times. Meru mountain is a very huge mountain, right? So that much confidence he got. And he said, if Garuda is flying, I can go around Garuda while Garuda is flying 1,000 times. That much power I have. And Hanuman was not just boasting, actually he was practical. He could do it. So that's why he was telling. So humility, one may be humble, but one may be extremely powerful also. So here you can see the combination of humility and courage in Hanuman. He was humble in front of Jambavan. He obeyed his order. He was ready to go to Lanka. At the same time, he was fully confident, and he could surely jump to Lanka. So that is what we can learn. Right. So the lesson from third lesson is encouragement can bring out the best in a person. So kindly encourage everybody to do the right thing, not to do the wrong thing. So now the jump starts. Is my voice audible? Is my voice audible? Kindly type in the chat. Yes, audible. Okay, thank you. So yeah, thank you. So somebody is not able to hear. We'll continue the session. So now Hanuman climbs on Mahendra Parvat. This is a very, very big, tall Parvat. And he climbs on it and he prays to Brahma, he prays to his father Vayu, he prays to Indra, and he prays to ultimately his Lord Shri Ram. And then chanting the name of Ram, Jai Shri Ram. Then like a rocket, he jumps. It is said that when Hanuman was jumping, Hanuman put pressure on the mountain Mahendra Parvat so much that mountain became squeezed. Just like when you squeeze a sponge, water comes out. Similarly, from the mountain, water started gushing out. And not only that, many of the trees got uprooted. And when Hanuman jumped like this, at that time, because of the vacuum created, because of like when a train goes past in front of you, behind all the dust and some stones and the leaves, they all fly behind the train. Similarly, when Hanuman started jumping, the water particles from the mountain and even the trees and the twigs and the flowers, everything started going behind Hanuman like this. So that suction was created behind Hanuman. And in fact, the water below the ocean, it started rising because of the suction created by Hanuman's speed. And water started touching his body. It said like that. It was flying so fast. And Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, Apsaras, they came in the sky and they were looking at this amazing journey which Hanuman was doing. A long jump, the longest jump which anybody could do in the history was done by Hanuman. And he was flying. So at that time, inside the water, there was a mountain. That mountain's name was Mainaka. So yeah, the lesson here is acquired blessings and face obstacles. So yeah, acquired blessings of Brahma and other devatas, and then he faces obstacles. The first obstacle was this one. So the Mainaka mountain, he comes up and he says, Hanuman, I'm so grateful to you and your father. And at one point of time, Indra, the king of the Devatas, he was cutting the wings of the mountains. It is said that previously the mountains had wings. He was cutting the wings of all the mountains. But your father, Vayu, saved me by putting me in the water. And Indra could not cut my wings. So I still have my wings intact. And because of the favor done by your father, I'm so grateful to your father. I can never forget your father's help to me. So I want to offer you some service. Kindly take some rest. You must be tired because you're doing a very long journey. Kindly take some rest and you can continue your journey ahead. Then Hanuman replies, time is very short. I'm on an urgent mission. The urgent mission is I have to reach Lanka and find out Sita and rescue Sita. So that's why I want to go fast. Thank you for your offer. I'll just touch you and go ahead. He told like that. So he just touched him and continued his journey ahead. So from this we can learn that time is short, goal is yet to be achieved. Never accept comforts that dampen enthusiasm. Right? See, generally comforts dampen our enthusiasm. Right? So dampening the enthusiasm means we become again lethargic, we become dull, or we become procrastinating things. So that's called dampening the enthusiasm. You know that story of the tortoise and the hare, the tortoise and the rabbit. The tortoise and rabbit had a race, and the rabbit ran very fast, and it came to very long. It came, and tortoise is far away, and the rabbit thought, "Oh, anyway, I have come so fast, and I'm tired. Let me take a rest." And he went to take rest, and when he got up, he saw tortoise was already reached. He wanted to take nap for 5 minutes. It became 1 hour, and tortoise slowly came, and then he reached the destination. So lethargy or laziness can spoil the game. So here Hanuman is teaching us that if you are on an urgent mission, do not stop, do not waste your time. Work until your destination is reached. Don't give any scope for laziness. So this is a very nice lesson for every one of us, especially students can learn from this. Like generally, there is a habit that we will study on the last day of the exam. If your exam is tomorrow, then today we'll study fully hard. But actually, one should continue studying throughout the semester, and then one can give the exam nicely and clear good scores, isn't it? But here, if a student becomes lazy, then he will spoil his grades. And similarly, if an employee becomes lazy, then he may spoil his job. So that's what happens. So it is in a Niti Shastra they decide that one should not waste one's time. Avyartha kalatvam. Time is very valuable. Chanakya Pandit says, Ayushah kshana ekopi na labhyate swarna kotivi. If you lose one moment of your time, you cannot purchase it back even by thousands of gold coins. So don't waste time. That's what he says. So then there's another shloka which says that a Vidyarthi should have 5 things. Kakacheshta, Bakudhyana, Swananidra, Alpahari, Grihatyagi. These 5 things are little lost here, but these austerities will keep one alert. So what are the 5 things? Kakacheshta. One should endeavor like a crow. You know the story, crow was thirsty and the water was very less in the beaker. And he started putting stones and pebbles and everything, and then water came up and then he drank. So he endeavored. Bakodhyana. A crane, he does constant meditation in the water and waits for the fish, and when the fish comes, it will catch. So it's very focused. So similarly, a Vidyarthi or a person should be focused in his goal. Just like a spiritualist also should be focused. My goal is to attain the Lord. My goal is to stay away from bad habits and to cultivate spiritual practices and attain Krishna. So that should be the goal of a spiritualist. So we should meditate like a baka. A crane on that goal. Swana Nidra. Swana Nidra means one should have a very light sleeper. One should not sleep for more than like 6.5 hours, right? Because that will make one lazy. One can sleep optimal. Shwana Nidra. Dog sleeps, but as soon as there is some danger, immediately it gets up. Isn't it? Some sound is there, it immediately gets up. Similarly, one should also, a student also should sleep like that for 6 hours. Alpahari. One should eat optimum. If one eats too much, then he'll become too fat. Right? So, especially during lockdown, because of lack of physical activity, we are seeing that many people are growing their weight. So maybe you should get into some action, do some exercise, do some physical activity also. Then Grihatyagi. In home, there's a lot of comfort. So that's why it is advised that a student should not stay at home. He should stay under a guru. He should stay under the care of a guru, because guru will discipline him. So a parent may not be able to discipline his children because of the affection and compassion which they have. So similarly, but a guru will be able to give that love and care, and also he'll be able to give discipline to the child. So these are the 5 things we can learn from this. That don't become lethargic or lazy, but be fixed on the goal, because time is very short. So then Mainaka mountain gives way and Hanuman continues his journey. And when he has continued his journey, the Devatas thought that we want to test Hanuman's power. So they sent another Rakshasi called Surasa. And Surasa was a big Rakshasi. She came and in front of Hanuman said, Hanuman, you cannot cross me without entering my mouth. So then she opened the mouth and Hanuman became bigger. Surasa also became bigger, right in the mouth. Big, both became big. Hanuman became so big, and Surasa extended her mouth to the limits. When she became very big, Hanuman became like a thumb, entered the mouth and came out. Hanuman said, the condition is fulfilled. I entered your mouth. Now I can proceed. Then Surasa was very happy. She said, yes, you have won the game. You go. And Hanuman said, yes, I have to find Sita. So, and he went ahead. But when he went ahead, another Rakshasi came. Her name was Simhika. So Simhika was a Rakshasi who had the power of catching a shadow of a person. So she caught Hanuman's shadow. Hanuman could not move. So then Hanuman, what he did, he entered into Simhika's mouth, entered into the heart, tore the heart with his claws, and came out through the chest. So that's what he did. So Mainaka mountain represents comfort, and Surasa represents pride, because she became big. Pride or ego. So when 2 people are having ego, if one becomes small, humble, then the ego can be overcome. Like there cannot be sound with one hand. Can you clap with one hand? No. But 2 hands are there, then you can clap. Isn't it? Similarly, if 2 people with big ego come together, there will be clash. They'll be fighting. But if one person takes a humble position, then you will see immediately the problem is resolved. So generally problems keep on elongating long because of high ego. So Hanuman became humble and solved the problem. But envy is not like that. If somebody is envious, we cannot become humble or accept it. Envy has to be destroyed. So this enviousness chokes our progress. Similarly, if you find envy in our heart, what is envy? Feeling jealousy on seeing others' prosperity. Seeing somebody in a better material situation than us. That's called as envy. So that really chokes our progress. So instead of becoming envious, one should appreciate that yes, by God's grace, somebody has better facilities than me. Why to be envious? Let's accept this. So like this, one can destroy envy and then go ahead with one's task. So Hanuman continues his journey and he reaches the final destination, which is Lanka, and he lands on Lanka in a mountain called Trikuta. So this Trikuta mountain was one of the tall mountains in Lanka, and he lands there. And after landing, see, it was a very long journey, about 800 miles journey, very long, and he covered it in one go. And generally, one may feel tired after doing such a long journey, but Hanuman did not feel tired. Hanuman felt more energetic. So this is the lesson which we can learn from this, that in the service of the Lord, when you are doing some service of the Lord with the right consciousness, you will not feel tired. You will feel more energetic. For example, Srila Prabhupada, let's take his one example. Although he was 70 years old, he was like a young youth. He traveled around the world 14 times at that age. He was just sleeping 4 hours in the night and working for 20 hours throughout the day, writing books, giving programs, preaching, dictating, writing letters, and organizing the movement of ISKCON all over the world. Single man. He did so much. So one of his disciples was very young, maybe 25 years old at the time. He said, Prabhupada, when we become senior, when we become elder, can we retire? Yes, Prabhupada said, yes, when you have done so much of service, after you become old, you can retire and go to Vrindavan and stay. Prabhupada said. And then he added, as far as I am considered, I am still young. I will not retire. I will continue working. Prabhupada said. Right? So similar, because he was doing service of Krishna. Kalena jarasam gataha. In Bhagavatam there is shloka which says that when somebody is serving the Lord with time, he will not lose his power. He increases his power. He increases his enthusiasm. So that is a lesson which we can learn. So that was the 4 lessons which we learned till now. And the 5th lesson onwards, I'll just tell you in brief, maybe in 5-6 minutes, and then we can take some question answers. So Hanuman entered Lanka. At that time, there was another demoness. Her name was Simhika. So here Hanuman uses intelligence. Instead of going in his original form, he became a very tiny, small monkey and entered inside. Right? And in Lanka, there were so many beautiful palaces. It's golden Lanka actually. Beautiful palaces were there. And Hanuman was thinking, Hare, and also there is such tight security here. How can I go inside? And there will be great danger. So it's very, very thoughtful. Because if the messenger is not thoughtful, then he may spoil the whole game, isn't it? So if he is caught, then everything is lost. So he was very, very careful. He disguised himself and went inside. And he started searching for Sita. And he waited till the night came. So when the darkness came and the moon rose, at that time he started searching for Sita. And he could see many Rakshasis, some were drunk, some were doing all nonsense activities, some were cooking meat and other things. So he ignored all of them, and he went to Ravana's palace. And in the Ravana's palace, he saw that in the Ravana's room, there were many, many ladies sleeping. And Ravana was also drunk and he was also sleeping. And Hanuman was thinking, hey, I am a brahmachari. What am I doing here? I should not be looking. But then Hanuman said, see, I am searching for Sita on the order of Lord Ram, and I am not getting any distracting thoughts. I'm just looking for Sita everywhere my master has ordered me. So like this, he continued his service. See, Hanuman was so pure, he did not have any impure thought in his mind. He was so steady in his mind, even in such provoking situation. Then in the palace of Ravana, next to the Ravana's bed, there was another bed where Mandodari was sleeping in. And Hanuman had never seen Sita till now. And he thinks, oh, is that Sita? Then he thinks, oh no, that cannot be Sita, because Sita cannot live without Ram. That cannot be Sita, that is Mandodari. Then he went to other places and started searching for Sita. And finally, he came to Ashokavana. And in Ashokavana, he could find Sita under a tree. He did not lose hope. He was searching. And finally, in Ashokavana, he found Sita. And he was so intelligent that he, instead of coming directly in front of Sita, he started glorifying Ram from the top of the branch. And hearing Lord's glories, Sita was searching, who is that speaking glories of Lord Ram? And then Hanuman came down and gave his gave that ring which Ram had given to Sita. And Sita was so happy. getting that ring, Sita in turn gave this to her Chudamani. Said, Hanuman, you are the best servant. You are so bold, so courageous, and you have come all the way to meet me. So kindly take this Chudamani as a token of love and give it to Ram. So this will confirm that you have met me. And this Chudamani was given by my mother in marriage. So take this. And Sita felt so happy seeing Ram, seeing Hanuman. Says, Hanuman, you stay here for one more day. I'm feeling so nice in your presence because you are reminding me of Ram. So then Hanuman also accepts that. And then Hanuman says to Sita, see that now I have come all the way and have found you, but my mission will be incomplete without estimating the strength of Ravana's army. I want to estimate that. So he goes on to estimate the strength. Yeah. Yes. So that is the seventh lesson. So he destroys Ashoka Vatika. The Ashoka Vatika grew. He destroys, breaks all the trees and all the chairs, whatever was kept there, gardens, flowers, everything he destroys. And the news reaches Ravana, and Ravana sends commander after commander to catch this monkey. And Hanuman, he kills everybody. Instantly, he was taking an iron rod and beating them, and everybody was dying. So after more than 60,000 Rakshasas were killed single-handedly by Hanuman, and even some of the commanders were also killed. Finally, Ravana sends Indrajit. Indrajit, you go and capture Hanuman and bring here. Capture that monkey and bring here. So Indrajit goes and he tries to defeat Hanuman, but it was not possible. Finally, Indrajit removes Brahmastra. And Brahmastra is such an astra that nobody can counteract. But Hanuman could counteract. He had that power. But out of respect for Brahmastra, Hanuman agrees to be bound by that Brahmastra. And then he was captured and he was taken to the custody of Ravana. But while taking, along with Brahmastra, they tied another rope to Hanuman. And Brahmastra had that power that it will lose the power when it is used with any other weapon. So Brahmastra had already lost his power, but Hanuman is still acting that he is bound. So then they took him to Ravana, and in front of Ravana, Hanuman boldly said that I am the servant of Lord Ram, and I am the smallest monkey in Ram's army. I can create so much havoc. See what will happen to you when Ram comes with all the armies, including Sugriva, Angada, Jambavan, and all those people. They will destroy your Lanka. But Ravana could not listen to this advice. See, Hanuman was so bold. Right? He boldly in front of his enemy, he told the truth. So that should be the mood of a servant. We should not fear anybody. If you are practicing spiritual life, you can boldly practice it without any hesitation. Right? Because people like Ravana, they will always criticize, they will always try to create trouble. So we should not fear that. In fact, we should try to boldly practice Krishna consciousness. But then Ravana said, we'll kill him. But Vibhishana said, no. You can insult him, but you cannot kill him. So then they put fire to the tail, and Hanuman burned the whole Lanka. And by the blessings of Sita Devi and his father Vayu, Hanuman could not feel any burning sensation, but he burnt the whole Lanka and returned to India. And all the monkeys were very happy that he became victorious. He found Sita, and they all celebrated actually. They appreciated the victory of Hanuman, and everybody started waving their clothes and enjoying the success of Hanuman. It means what? If somebody becomes successful, rejoice in his success rather than becoming envious of his success. Let's celebrate together, celebrating others' success. So then comes back to India and then takes blessings of Jambavan and Angada, and then goes to meet and comes back to meet Rama. So here, so one more lesson is offer honest praise in relation to the Lord. not independent of the Lord. Angada praised Hanuman for his great heroism and devotion to Lord Ram. So he was not envious, but he was happy that one of our commanders could do it. So then, there are many lessons, but we'll just quickly go ahead. Yeah. So finally, Hanuman comes and gives the news of Lanka to Ram, and Hanuman explains in detail whatever happened in Lanka, and Ram was so happy. And in return, Lord Ram says, Hanuman, you are such a best servant. How can I repay you for whatever you have done to me? Just be happy with this embrace. And Lord Ram tightly embraces Hanuman and says, be happy with this. See, this is the greatest blessing which Lord Ram can give. That he gives himself to his devotees. Right? Generally, people want something from the Lord. They want money, they want car, they want bungalow, they want material facilities. And actually, if you do service to Lord Ram with love, Lord will give himself. So which is better? To ask something from the Lord or to want the Lord? Isn't it? So to want the Lord, to have the Lord is better than wanting something from the Lord. But most of the people in this world want from God. They don't want God. That's the problem. Right? There is one story. One king was going in a forest, and one person met him in the forest. The king was very thirsty, so he gave him water. And king was very grateful to him. And the king asked, what do you want in return? Please ask. I can give gold, I can give land, I can give anything. And that person said, actually, I don't want anything. I just want your friendship. Can you be my friend? King said, oh, you want to be my friend? So then come on this chariot. Sit here. Sit next to me. So he took him on the chariot, sat next to him. And then he told, come to my palace. I'll give you a room next to my room. So he went to the palace and gave him a room next to king's room. And he was staying on par with the king. And imagine if that person had asked, okay, I want some 10 gold coins. He would have given gold coins and forgotten, that's all. But he has for the friendship of the Lord. That is intelligence, isn't it? So similarly, we should not ask something from the Lord, but we should want to the Lord, and we should give ourselves to the Lord. So that is the success of life. Then we'll be truly happy by the embrace of Lord Ram. It's like this. So that's why Hanuman is considered the best servant. Right? A best servant accomplishes more than the duty entrusted by the master. So that's the best servant. He will do more than expected. Mediocre servant never attempts to do more than what master orders, though capable. Right? Whatever master tells, that much he will do. And the worst servant does not carry out master's order, though qualified. And there are three kinds of servants: best, mediocre, worst. At least one should be mediocre servant. जो बोला गया है उसको करना चाहिए. Whatever is told, that we should do. If possible, we can be best servant. Means do more than what is expected. So we come to the end of the session. This is the last slide. Just a revision of what we did. So there's some tips from the Lanka trip. Avoiding lethargy, which we learned from Swayam Prabha's cave episode. Serve to your best capacity. Right? About Sampati, how he served by telling about the location of Sita. Encouragement can bring out the best in a person. Jamban's encouragement to Hanuman. Facing obstacles while flying, comfort, pride, and envy. Menaka and Surasa and Simhaka demons. Right? So they were the obstacles. And Hanuman was very thoughtful in Lanka because a spy can spoil the game if he does some mistake. He was very thoughtfully changed his form and went carefully inside, and it did not get allured by the allurements in Lanka. Finding Sita, although he could not find Sita initially, but he is fixed up. He will find Sita and strong resolve. Then exceeding expectations, he not only found Sita but also estimated the power of Ravana. That exceeding expectations. And rejoiced the victory. When Hanuman returned back, all the monkeys rejoiced the victory without being any envious. So they celebrated the victory together. And then Hanuman is the best servant of Lord Ram. Lord Ram was so happy that he embraced Hanuman for his wonderful service. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share today. Although we can discuss in quite a detail, but in interest of time, we are keeping it short and sweet. So thank you so much for being with us. If there are any questions, then we'll be happy to discuss. Kanak?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very much, Prabhuji, for giving so many wonderful, valuable lessons from the trip of Hanuman to Lanka. Now, Prabhuji, before we go to questions, I would like to again announce that we are starting the third batch of Gita online course. This is a session that will happen on weekdays. And if you want to register for this session, you can click the link that I'm going to put now in the chat box. It's a WhatsApp link. You can join the group and you will get all the updates regarding the third batch online course of Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. Now, Prabhuji, moving on to the questions. We have a few questions that devotees have put. Shall we begin, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji. The first question is asked by Prashant Prabhu. Prabhuji is asking, is Uttarkanda a part of original Valmiki Ramayana or was it added later on?
Yeah, some say that it has been added later on. Actually, the 6 kandas up to Uttarakhanda are the original. So that I have heard from one of our senior devotees. So that's what I can say. Uttarakhanda contains some other stories which are additional stories. Yes, Kanak. Not on mute?
Prabhuji, I can't unmute myself, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Okay. Prabhuji, second question is by Gauri Shankar Prabhu. Prabhuji
Yes,
is asking, who was Hanuman in his previous birth?
see, Hanuman is a special personality. Hanuman is a combined incarnation, right, of Vayu and Rudra, right? So Vayu and Rudra combined together, they come as Hanuman. So he is not an ordinary personality, and he doesn't take births like we take birth. And I was somebody in previous birth. Before that, also I was born somewhere else. Before that, I also born somewhere else. So we are ordinary souls. So we keep taking birth and dying. But people like Hanuman, they don't take birth or die. They are eternal personalities. Hanuman is an eternal servant of Lord Ram. He always stays in the spiritual world in Ayodhya with Lord Ram, isn't it? He is an eternal servant of Lord Ram. So that is the main thing. And when he comes to serve here, he comes as Vayuputra and an Amsha of Rudra. So he is an eternal associate of Lord Ram, and wherever Lord Ram performs pastimes, he will be there. So that is his identity. Okay. So he doesn't take a rebirth like we do. Yes, Kanakpu. You can unmute yourself now.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The next question is, how to remove tamoguna, especially when we wake up from sleep early morning?
How to remove tamoguna when you wake
Yes,
up in the
Prabhuji.
morning?
This
Yes.
question is asked by Ankit Prabhu.
Yeah, so this is a very relevant question to this episode because we discuss about lethargy and comfort. So once you get up in the morning, first thing we should do is put cold water in the face. That's the first thing. And another thing we should do is we should fold the bed and keep it aside. Because if you feel have the bed open, then you may, of course, if you are using a thick bed, you cannot fold it. But if you are only using a rolling mat, something like that, you can fold it and keep it. But you should immediately get up from the bed, wash your face, and then start doing some activity. Don't sit idle. So that's the way we can overcome our tamoguna instantly. And then you go brush your teeth, and then you can take bath, wear fresh clothes, and do some chanting meditation. Then by the time tamoguna is fully removed, there's no more tamoguna remaining. So this is what we can do in the morning, especially water. When you touch anything with water, the tamoguna is removed. Yeah, that's the main secret.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Shall we go for the next question, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Prabhuji, the next question is how to pray to Lord Hanuman when we visit a Hanuman temple.
Yes. How to pray to Lord Ram, Lord Hanuman. See, Hanuman is a devotee of Lord Ram. So we should pray to Hanuman that just like you are a great devotee of Lord Ram, give me also some devotion to Lord Ram. Right? So some people consider that Hanuman is the supreme Lord. One should not worship Hanuman like that. Because Hanuman will also get embarrassed. Hey, I'm servant of Lord Ram. Why are you worshipping me like Bhagwan? No, I'm not Bhagwan. I'm servant of Bhagwan. That's what is Hanuman's identity. So when you go to Hanuman temple, we should pray that kindly give me service to Lord Ram. So that is the right prayer and right consciousness. Another thing we can do is we can pray that kindly give me the strength to chant the names of Lord Ram. Hanuman is constantly chanting Sri Ram, Re Ram, Re Re Ram, Sri Ram, Re Ram, Re Re Ram. He's chanting that. So similarly, we also chant Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we're chanting Hare Krishna mantra. So we can pray and give me strength to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So this is what we can offer prayers. And in my childhood, I remember I will almost every week go to Hanuman temple and pray to him. So maybe that's why Hanuman sent me to Lord Ram and Krishna, right? Yes. Next
Hare
question.
Krishna, Prabhuji. This question was asked by Pawan Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji, for asking the question. Now, the next question is by Raghunath Prabhu, Prabhuji. Prabhuji is asking how to face and defend against negative attitudes without being affected by them.
Yes. So there will be some situations where negative attitudes will get generated. So without getting affected, how to deal with it? So that is the question. So we can do some case studies of people who had some negative attitude and how they could deal with it. And they came across some negative situation and they could overcome it. So here the specific question is negative attitude of others, right? So there was once an instance which happened in a family. This is the family of Uttanapada and Dhruva. So Uttanapada's wife, Suruchi, she scolded Dhruva. Dhruva, you cannot sit on your father's lap because you are not born from me. You're born from another lady, from not a high lady. So you cannot sit. And Dhruva felt so insulted because he was stopped from sitting on his father's lap. So immediately he went to Suniti, his mother. And Suniti was a gentle lady. She understood the situation and she said, don't blame your stepmother for this. And Suruchi, that's her negative attitude. And you cannot do anything about it, nor can I do anything about it. So let's try to focus our mind on Supreme Lord Vishnu. Why have to unnecessarily go and beat our head against her? So it is said that only Lord Vishnu can solve your problems. So you take shelter of Lord Vishnu, she says. At that time, Dhruva asks, where can I find Vishnu? And mother says, I have heard that saints say that they find Vishnu in the forest. Immediately Dhruva becomes ready to go to the forest. And within 6 months, Dhruva gets the darshan of Lord Vishnu. He turns this extreme negative situation which was there in the own family into extremely positive situation. Right? So extreme negative, extreme positive. So this was possible because of right guidance which came in between. Right? Which was the guidance of Mother Suniti. So similarly, we can have some mentors because mentors are connected to the higher power of God. Gurus especially are connected to the higher powers. When there are some negative attitudes, we can check with them how to deal with it, how to come out of it so that we will not get affected. First thing, because others are having negative attitude, you can keep distance from them. When you go closer, then only problem starts. So keep some respectful distance from them so that you don't get affected by the negative attitudes. We don't have to be intimate with them. We can have working relationship with them. That's like high-bye relationship. That's okay. But when you get too closer, then we'll get affected. So there's also a statement that one should be Gunadikan Budam Lipset Anukuroshat Gunadamat Maitri Samana Danvichen Natapera Vipugate. Right? Sorry, Prema Maitri Kripa Upeksha. So with those who are having with the Supreme Lord, one should love the Lord. With those who are devotees, one should develop friendship. And those who are envious, keep distance. So we can keep respectful distance from those who are envious. So that's how we can try to avoid initially. And later on, by our good behavior, we can try to impress upon some positive energy into them by our good behavior, good dealings, by which they become favorable. Then we can go closer to them. Yes, that's how we can practically deal with this, especially in workplace and even in families. We can deal with this like this. Yeah. That's correct.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. The next question is asked by Gunjan Prabhu. Prabhuji is asking, we should be after energetic and not the energy. Then why do people say Yatha Shakti Tatha Bhakti? Should I read again, Prabhuji?
Yeah, understood.
Okay.
See here, Yatha Shakti means what? As per one's capacity, one should do. And that's how we can understand. One should not be behind Shakti without Shaktiman. Like we in our Vedic tradition, we worship Shakti and Shaktiman, Sita, Rama, Lakshmi, Narayan, Radha, Krishna. This is Shakti, Shaktiman Tattva. So the devotion should be done to both Shakti and Shaktiman. We chant Hare Krishna mantra, Radha Krishna. Hare means Radha, Krishna means Krishna. So in this way, we worship both, and as per our capacity, we can render service to them. Like Sampath, he could not fly, but he told, okay, Sita is here. Jamvan also could not jump, but he told Hanuman, you can jump. So Yatha Shakti, as per one's capacity, one can do service. While making the bridge, Hanuman was bringing mountain peaks, but the squirrel was bringing some small dust particles. That's called Yatha Shakti. As per one's capacity, one can do devotional service or bhakti. So that's how we can understand this statement. I hope that answers this question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I hope it does, Prabhuji. Next question is by Bishwa Vijay Prabhu. Prabhuji is asking how to deal with envious people.
Yeah, that I already told. That
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prema Maitri Kripa Upeksha. Upeksha means keep distance. Like snake is envious. When snakes come, what you do? Keep distance. If you beat the snake, it becomes more angry, right? It becomes more angry. So better not disturb envious people. Keep respectful distance from them till the time their envy goes down. Once their envy goes down, we can go closer to them, right? So that is the solution given in the Shastras, right? Because they are like snakes. You meddle with them, their poison will increase.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, we have one more question, one last question.
Yes.
So, Prabhuji, the question is, how did Bhagwan Shri Ram deal with the loss of his wife, but still very unaffected by the emotion while searching for her? Also, how did he let go of the negative emotions after the war? Question is asked by Prashant Prabhu.
Yeah. See, actually, this is a Lord's pastime. It's a very beautiful question, but it requires a detailed explanation for this. But if you want to answer in short, the answer will be: see, Lord Ram and Sita Devi, they are always one, right? They are always together. They are never separated. So here, Lord is coming to this world to teach us a lesson that if your wife is in danger, you should do anything and everything to get back that wife without getting affected, because you have to do your duty. Husband's duty is to protect the wife. And Lord also wanted to teach a lesson that if you are attached to your wife, you will be in trouble, because the loss of the wife will create trouble to you. So he's teaching two lessons in this. As a dutiful husband, you have to give protection. And as an attached husband, you will have difficulties because of attachment. There will be pain also. So these two things he wanted to teach. So actually, it's given in one of the Purana. I think it's Kurma Purana, that Sita was never kidnapped. The original Sita, when Ravana came to kidnap, at that time, original Sita was in the custody of Agni, and a replica Sita or Vedavati came as Sita and she was kidnapped by Ravana. So this secret is revealed in that Purana. Because Sita is Lakshmi herself. How can somebody capture Sita Devi? It's impossible. Somebody like Ravana cannot even touch Sita. How can he kidnap Sita? So it was not actually Sita. She was Maya Sita, which was captured by who was captured by Ravana and kept in Ashok Vatika, right? And she was playing the role of being Sita for 1 year. And Ram, as a dutiful husband, wanted to teach the lesson to this world that at any cost you have to bring back Sita and protect your wife. So, in one sense, internally he was not at all affected because he never separated from Sita, and externally, to teach a lesson to all of us, he is dealing in such a way that dutiful husband should go to any limit to give protection to his wife. So in this way, you can see this pastime from two angles. One is internal lessons, and one is external behavior which Lord is showing to this world. Externally, he is appearing as if he's lost his wife. He's crying and he's asking everybody, please find Sita, please find Sita. But internally, Lord is always with Sita and is never separated from Sita. So from when you see this pastime from two angles, then it gives perfect understanding. So I hope that answers this question in brief. For more details, maybe we can have another session on this, on Vipralamba and Sambhoga Prema. Yes, Kanakuru.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, video Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you Prabhuji for answering all the questions. The devotees are also satisfied with the questions. They have posted their comments.
Thank you so much for your beautiful questions.
Prabhuji, so finally, I would also again like to announce about the online Gita Course 3, whose link for joining the chat group on WhatsApp has been put into the chat box. Now, there are two links in the chat box. One is to join the online Gita Course 3, and another link is of our Prerna program that happens regularly every Sunday from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Please join both the groups. I am Hare Krishna. I would like to thank His Grace Swarnagaur Hariprabhu for sharing such valuable lessons from the trip of Hanuman to Lanka. Also, I would like to try and thank the IYF South Bangalore team for arranging these sessions regularly during the Corona lockdown. And last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants and devotees without whom these programs would not have any meaning at all. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Have a nice week. We'll meet again next week. Hare Krishna.